training sales calls, like using your online organic marketing, right? Like everything you're posting, if you're looking at it like an ad, like, well, how do you move somebody manually into the landing page section, your DMs, right? And then how do those handle that? That's a very structured workflow. And it goes off with the one you kind of sent me to, right? If we're going black and white, there's right ways and wrong ways of doing it. If we're going to the gray areas, it's really making the decision, hey, do I really make this just a straight line? Okay, cool. Yep, here you go. Hey, here, learn more about me. Hey, do you want to book a call? Or do you go the route in like the scenario that you sent over for me to review? Do we get a little bit more person to person level? Do we build some of that connection when it's there? Because it can be really good, but it can also cause us to go south really fast. So
I excuse Scott. I don't know how they got in because they're not supposed to. So I'm going to let you in through this way. Okay. Normally, they want you to kind of go through the other door and circle back around. Of course you would. Yeah, I get that.
Thank you.
Got it. And for the bicycles, of course, right? Good timing. Good timing. Okay, back with you, Scott.
yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I can understand that. And I guess just kind of that general conversation of how do you go from nothing to something without it being swarmy or there's obviously the sweet spot there, and that's what I would like to have that discussion between. Hey, thanks for that comment, or thanks for looking at me, and what is it that you do? What's those opening lines and all that kind of stuff? So to kind of get me over that first hurdle, if you will.
Yep. And that's perfect. So it's actually my plan today. So I'm glad we're kind of on that same page, because yeah, that's really key for a lot of you guys. Going, and it's one of the things when sounds good, Cindy. It's one of the things looking at people that go from like a book a call funnel, right? Like it's easy, people just show up in your calendar. Right. So
Right.
if we're not doing that, okay, how do we get someone to actually get on our calendar now? And that's where so many people struggle with the organic. It's sometimes not even the content. It's just do I have a step-by-step process that I'm going through to get people from comments into the DMs, likes into the DMs, yes, or them just taking action right into the DMs. And then how do I handle those DMs and get them on a call, pre-sold and ready to go, or qualified or disqualified, or get them assets or get them help, whatever that process may be.
100%.
So
yeah. I mean, because if somebody DMs me, okay, I kind of got that one. I mean, I can always improve on it, but I mean, I got it. But how do I get them to that point of DMing me? So that'll be a great discussion. Appreciate that.
Yep. And Cindy said she was going to be with us in just a second. I think Christy's coming in today, but I'm not positive. I think Katie's showing up and Joe Maynard popping in as well, but I'm not positive. But
and I'm going to go silent here in a little bit, but for now, I thought I'd just jump on.
Yep, and I'm going to share my screen, Bill, but you'll be able to walk through it. It's so I'm going to be another video that I'm crafting, get out to you guys today. I'm going to kind of do the screenshot of it, but you might kind of made the comment yesterday of like the frameworks, and Melanie is so dialed into how I do sales calls. She's amazing, and so I'm actually gonna have her role play today. But I want to start off kind of so you can see each section, because I want to break each section down into details too, so you can go watch 10 to 30. You know how I talk a lot. So it might be what I'm planning a 10-minute video, but it might end up to being a 45-minute video to each section to really kind of grab it. And because what I want you to be able to have is to where anybody that comes in, okay, here's the breakdown of what the process looks like. I've given you a script so you can read through it and then watch videos for each section, and then maybe even role plays on each section. Because one of the things about role plays, and like I said, Manelni's really good at it now to where she can go through the whole thing, even objection handling. And she understands each section where she's going with it and, you know, how to kind of manage that, when to stop, when not to. Hey, if I get a red flag, like, am I addressing this, or am I going to notice it, but not confront it at that moment to kind of make some of those details? So I'm going to share my screen real quick. I'll pull up, and I don't have all the details in here yet, but if we look at the structure of how I have a sales call set up, really I look at it as 5 sections. So the first one, which we were kind of really touching point on yesterday, which is the 3 Ps, so the very beginning part of the call. I do things differently than a lot of people are taught of, hey, you know, to spend 2 to 3 minutes building rapport, then hard doctor frame it, and then go right in. The reason why I don't like that, because I don't think that small talk actually does anything as a benefit for them or to you. And most sales reps do it. And everyone knows that it's kind of just small talk. And then when you go into a hard frame, okay, Sue, we're going to spend the next 45 minutes. We're going to dive into what's not working, what is working, and figure out if I can help you. And at the end, I expect a yes, a no, and not a maybe.
Mhm.
Ready? Right? You go from small talking to a hard frame like that. What's your initial reaction just on a human level? Oh, okay, we're going into a sales call. I'm going to protect myself now. So
Yeah.
that's why I don't like that. And I like a more smooth process why I do the 3 Ps and the questions of the perspective, perception, and the purpose. So, you know, why are you here? You know, figuring things out, because, and we went through that yesterday, and I will have a video that goes into detail on that. The next section is your, what I call the Dixonson effect, which is the Scrooge, the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future.
Uh-huh.
So we have to have that discussion now about, okay, where are you in life? Right. And it needs to start there. And the good thing is, after the 3 Ps, you have an idea of actually where they're at. You have an idea of what their problems are because they told you, hey, this is what attracted me to book a call with you. And also a perception of who you are, how you fall in that solution. And you ask, hey, what's your purpose of the call? So yeah, cool, awesome. Well, let's, like, tell me what's going on in your scenario right now. Right. And it's a really smooth transition. I go, well, how long has this been going on? What struggles we've been seeing? Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Just so I'm a little bit of an idea, you know, and this is where sometimes, depending what they say, where you can use like that phrase, hey, sounds like things are going fairly well. What do you want to change? Well, I want to change this, this, this. Okay, cool. Well, just so I have a general idea right now, I mean, what outcome are you looking for? Well, I'm looking for this. Okay, cool. Then we can kind of discuss commitment. What have you tried? Are you ready to take action today? Nail down some of those commitments there at that point, and anchoring some of that of the failures that they've had, why they're ready to move on. And sometimes this can be a very hard section to be at, because some people aren't ready to really tell you. Sometimes it's a short section, sometimes it's longer, depending what red flags I'm getting. Then I get into the gap, which is your dream and your failure. So, hey, really paint me a picture of the dream scenario and outcomes you're looking for. What does that look like? And then once they paint that picture and diving steps into that and really get a personal, is this really doing for you personally, that you're striving for this, and what does it do for you? And then the failure piece. Okay, cool. With where you're at, what you're doing. I mean, do you actually feel like you can achieve that right now? No, I can. Okay, so if you go another 6 months, where does it actually lead? Now, through that process, now I've actually dated somebody, so now I can actually get into the proposal, because through that process, they're telling me, and more importantly, they're telling themselves, hey, this is going on. This is going on. I can't do this on my own. I'm committed to solving this. I want to hit this, but I haven't been able to. I can't go any longer without making this change. And so they've told me the whole time of why this is so ideal for them. And so now I know that they're going to say yes to moving forward. I already know that they're yet committed to making a change. They want to change, and they want that certain thing, and they're doing it today. So now I'm going to say, now I know they're going to say yes. So now I give the proposal. Now that yes doesn't always mean that they're going to say yes to me. I can't control that, right? Because there can be money issues, it can be logistical issues, or can be certain things that do pop up, even fear, but a lot of that should be overcome through the front part of the call. So once a proposal is done, then it slides into objections. And I don't even call them objections. I call it carrying curiosity, because I don't battle people. But if you've told me yes all the way through and now you're telling me no, I need to figure out why you're telling me no. And I need to get curious about that and have that conversation about that. And so whether it's a spouse, whether it's money, whether it's think about it, whether it's time, whether it's fear, I need to help them. And I also need to get clear on why they're saying no to figure out the next steps as well. So those next steps could be they're going somewhere else. Cool, awesome. Hit me up if you need it. The next steps where I need 2 weeks to get things in order. Cool. Well, we're booking a call, or I might move into, well, let's put a down payment down today and test that. There's a lot of little details there that kind of play out. So each one of these sections, I'll shoot a video around to really play with that and go with that as well. So does that make sense for everybody, how I kind of just broke that down?
Yeah.
And Katie, how do you like my visual? I'm glad you said that you liked it, you enjoyed it. So I want to do a role play here, and if Dr. Garv is up to it to role play and be the sales rep, I would love that.
Yeah, after all the things you said, no pressure at all, right?
And what I want to do, if you're okay with it, I actually want you to have Sue be the lead,
Okay.
because I want her to feel it from her side of being a lead, because when you are the lead, you can learn just as much about the sales process by how you're feeling through it as you are just practicing going what's going on. And so Sue, Dr. Garv, what she does, she actually helps South Asian women accelerate their careers. And how she does that is because most South Asian women culturally have been brought up as females need to be quiet. They do a lot of their stuff just, hey, if I work really hard, if I do my tech, that's really good. But their missing piece is they have no idea how to really showcase their executive presence. They don't know how to actually speak up eloquently and powerfully. So it's not just, hey, we're going to fix your resume and get a job, or you're just going to magically apply to the right job and get hired. Hey, you need to understand that there is something internal inside you that you're doing wrong with communication with people, and you're not showing up. So oftentimes you're scared to speak up in meetings. You get your ideas stolen. And so it's more of an internal thing where a lot of people come in immediately thinking, hey, if I just fix my resume, or if I just know how to answer the interview questions, I'll get hired. When in reality, they're realizing, hey, it's something much deeper than that. And they need to up-level themselves personally. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm supposed to be demure and quiet and reserved, all the things I'm not, but okay.
I know.
And I got, okay. All right. I got it on here.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. That's why I went into so much detail, because,
Yeah.
and so think of you like when you were in your corporate setting, right? Like you got really high up because of who you were, the confidence, the conviction, leadership qualities. So think of all the people that you could have hired for promotions, but they were not displaying any of those qualities.
Okay.
So
I can go for that.
cool. Do you want cameras off or do you want cameras on? Does it matter?
On is fine.
Okay. I'm gonna
How much do I know of Cindy though? Am I coming in blind or what?
Oh, so you're gonna be talking with Manelani, so Dr. Gar.
Manelani, sorry, Manelani.
And so you've been on social media for the past 6 months following her stuff.
Yeah.
You did go through a workshop of hers. What workshop did you just do, Dr. Gar?
Networking with senior leaders.
Yes. And you were really impressed by it. And so that's why you booked a call. and you did watch an 8-minute video that did break down how her program goes through all the details of accelerating yourself. So yep, you've got all the details. You're not coming in blind the way people should be coming into everybody.
All right.
And so just so I have some background about you, when you were in the corporate world, what was your position before you left corporate world?
Oh, I was like a kind of low level manager. Yeah.
Okay.
And I say low level lovingly, but not really.
Okay.
I always wanted to be more, but it
Okay.
just did never come together.
Okay.
It's so frustrating.
And that's actually
and I
a really good position, because that's actually some of the people she works with as well.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah. So some of the stuff, is people trying to get into C-suite and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Or would you like me to be higher up? I can do that. I just assumed I was demure, so I wouldn't have gotten many promotions.
Oh no, I was asking you in your real life, like when
Yeah.
you
Oh
in-
no, this isn't real. This isn't real life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what were you in real life when you were in the corporate world?
Well, and it wasn't really as corporate as Scott might allude to it have been. I worked for Kelly Staffing Services. It was my first non-sales, non-management role. And I started off as an operations person on the desk, and then 6 months later I was promoted to sales. And then 3 months after that, I got the branch. And then a year later, I got transferred to Vancouver and had 4 branches.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
But that's the only time I've ever really worked for anyone. And that was like 35 years ago.
Okay. All right.
So it's a foggy memory. But anyways, in the role play, I can just be like like someone who was a supervisor that wanted to get promoted but never did. Right?
Yeah.
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 I can handle that.
Okay. All right, great. You want me to start, Scott?
Yep. Go ahead.
All right. Hey, Sue, can you see me, hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. It's good to put a face to the name.
for sure.
So I wanted to ask you before you, well, first of all, I want to ask you, how did you find me?
Well, I've been kind of following you on social for a while,
Mm,
and I saw your networking presentation, that workshop you did.
okay, the one that I did 3 days ago.
Yeah, it inspired me to reach out to talk to you.
Oh, wonderful. So what jumped at you from that workshop?
Oh, well, networking is hard for me. That's why I went. And I never know what to say or what to do. And so I was just really amazed at, how you made it sound so easy. And, the connections, the possibilities that I thought would really be able to help me in my career.
I see. When you schedule this call, Sue, I also sent you a link to review where I talked about, how my program works. There were also some client success stories. Did you get a chance to review that at all?
Yeah. I must admit, I kind of went through it quickly because I was just did it before we hopped on the call today. But yeah, I had to look through it.
Okay, not a problem. Anything that, stuck with you?
Well, the testimonials were really impressive.
Mm-hmm. Anyone in particular that you remember?
Oh, I think it was that the more mature woman, kind of more my age, and she had, after working with you, how she had got the career that she wanted and had stepped up and gotten more success. That really inspired me. I could see myself in that.
Yeah, I think you're talking about I'm just making this name
Yeah.
up. Renu. Renu is, one of our very popular clients. Everyone who gets on the call, they basically says, we love Renu's story. So she definitely is one of our very popular, case stories, success stories. So tell me, Sue, what led you to get on this call on me? Like, what specifically are you looking to accomplish on this call?
time out. Am I supposed to be looking for another higher job within my career or getting out of my career and starting a business? Which one am I supposed to be?
You can basically say that, I'm trying to get promoted, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
stuck.
So I'm
You
still staying at
applied,
my career. Okay.
applied for a couple of times, but did not get promoted.
Ditto. Okay. Well, I just, I'm so embarrassed. I just got passed over for a promotion that should have been mine. I
Mm.
worked so hard for it and I didn't get it. And so, you know, I just feel so defeated, and my husband says I should speak up more, and I just I do a good job and they don't seem to recognize it. So
Mm.
I thought maybe if the networking made me think that maybe if I had better connections that I
Mm.
would do better, but so that's what I was hoping for,
Mm.
is to figure that out.
Okay. What's your current position? And you can say XYZ. What's your current position?
Oh, well, I'm kind of, well, I like to say I'm a low-end manager, but I'm probably kind of considered to be a supervisor in the company. Yeah, that's technically my title, but I think I do way more work than anyone else does in my department.
Mm.
But I do supervise a few people, but I really want to step up because, I deserve it. I've been there the longest,
Mm.
and they always count on me, but I'm just not getting the promotions that I think I deserve.
Okay. How long have you been in this position?
This is embarrassing. I've been in this position like for 4 years now,
Mm.
almost 5. Yeah, actually it'll be 5, but in a couple months.
Mm. How many times have you applied for promotion in the last 5 years?
Oh, a bunch, you know.
Was it 2, 3?
Probably about 3, like 2 this year, because I was thinking that if I could get, like into a different department. I work for Universal Studios, and so at least it's a big corporation, so there's, different departments, and so I'm always watching for, different avenues, because I feel like if my current boss isn't going to promote me, then maybe I should go to a different area, like a different department.
Mm-hmm.
But, so if you count those in there, it's been at least 3 or 4.
Okay. Now, did you get called for interviews, or were you just rejected straight away?
Oh my God, all this rejection. It's terrifying. Well, some of the departments I didn't get interviews, which bothered me because I think that they should hire within the company rather than outside of the company.
Mhm.
That's how I feel about it. And then within, my boss just says, yeah, we know who you are. And it's like, that was so demoralizing. It's kind of like they're just not seeing me. They're not, they're not really, appreciating all the work that I do, the overtime I put in. I never take sick days like Nancy does. I mean, that's just like, she takes all her personal days and sick days. I never do any of that. I'm always there.
So, what have you done so far to change your situation?
I don't know. What do you mean?
Like, did you go to HR? Did you speak with anyone? Did you work with someone to learn how to get promoted?
Not really. I mean, my husband tells me some things to do, but
Hmm.
and to go to HR, you just look like you're whining then, like, yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So, let's say you don't change anything, right? And things continue the way they are.
Hmm.
What would your career look like then?
Well, I just won't be making the money that I should be. And it's kind of, as I say, it's kind of, you know, demoralizing because the people who started at the same time I did, they've all moved on and to better jobs and more pay, and and I just haven't. And I just don't think it's fair. Like I'm working hard, and my performance reviews come out okay, but I just find it really sad. I mean ultimately I guess I'll need to go find a job with maybe a different company, but the thought of that is terrifying. It's like the one versus the one you don't.
Okay. So tell me, Sue, you mentioned, you're not making the kind of money that you want to make. Oh, Scott, you're raising your hand.
No, I wanted to see where you're gonna go there real quick. Where was it? So where was your mindset right now? What was this next question?
I was going to ask her what her ideal situation is.
Okay.
No, actually, I was gonna ask her, when did she make that decision to make a change?
Okay. So Sue, I'm gonna ask you right now, like, where the call's going. How are you feeling at the moment?
Well, being a demure woman, I'm feeling a little pulled out on the rug. Like it's like I'm really looking into the dirty cracks that I don't want to see,
Yep.
like I'm like, it's like I'm hoping I'm assuming the role well enough. I'm hoping I'm role playing for you well
You're
enough.
doing great, actually.
Yeah, you're doing really, really good.
But I'm thinking like, to have to tell, if I'm a demure woman and I have to confess to somebody that I'm not getting promoted, that other people are getting ahead of me, that I'm not, that I'm working harder than everybody else. Like after I'm really feeling down, like I'm really feeling defeated right now.
Yeah. And so, and I'm feeling that from you too.
Yeah,
And
like
that,
it's
and
embarrassing.
yeah, and Melanie, you going to that next step with her feeling that way is a good thought process. And that's why I kind of raised my hand. I was kind of waiting before I jumped in. I wanted to see where the next question was going. Because the one thing I wanted to interject, potentially to another route to go here. What would that be from your perspective in the moment, and why would you choose a different than the route you're deciding right now?
So I have actually two ways. So one, I felt like she has told me everything that she needs to hear herself.
Yep.
And now I felt like, okay, you are down there. Let's just talk about where you want to go.
Yep.
So that was one thought that I had. The other thing was, like she's on this call and it seems she wants to make a change. When did she decide to make that change? That was another thought process for me.
Yep. And both of those are good. And so everyone, when you're listening to that thought process, those are frameworks, right? Like, what question am I asking? Because that question is going to lead somebody to a certain thing. And that's a framework. So where am I leading somebody by asking the question? And both of those directions are really good. One of the other frameworks that I asked during a sales call is sometimes asking them very directly. So you haven't achieved this yet. You've been struggling. What do you feel needs to change? So you could, so you start getting promoted. And this is probably where I would drop this here. Say it again, Sue.
That would be a really good question.
Right. And so
That it for me.
Yep. And that's where I feel like the conversation was going as well. That's why I raised my hand. That's why I was waiting for you to see where you went with it. Because I could tell that you were speeding up to try to get to the dream, which sometimes is completely fine. Right. It sometimes is a great thing. Let's just go. Right. And let them, okay, cool, with what you're telling me, because she might have already told you, as an example, like, this is going wrong, this is going wrong, I know I need to make a change. Cool, you're on the right path, right? But with what she's told you so far, I need to figure out if she's self-aware.
So basically trying to find out, why does she think she's being held back?
You're right. And then asking, what do you feel like, everything that, so what's holding you back? What do you feel is holding you back, right? And then you lead into, well, everything you've watched of me, and you went through my workshop. You said you really enjoyed that, learned a lot. You watched the video right before you hopped on the call. What about So everything you know about me so far, do you think those things would actually help you
Mm,
get a promotion?
mhm,
Right? So now you're getting them to say, yeah, I have a problem. It's self-inflicted.
mm,
I need to take ownership of this. And then you're tying. So what you know so far of me, do you feel like this potentially could be the answer for you? Well, I could.
mm.
Okay, now let's talk about the dream.
Got
Mm.
it.
Right.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
then after that, depending how she answers, that is something where we kind of discussed yesterday of going, you are 100% accurate. That's exactly what I do. Right.
Mm,
And then all of a sudden that now, cool, that's exactly what I do. I'm so glad. I want to make sure this does work. Paint me a picture. What is that dream?
mm,
Right. So now from where she's at, you
mm,
get her to go, I'm the problem.
mm,
You're the solution.
mm,
You have conviction and confidence that yes, you are that solution and you are right by thinking that I'm the one to help you. Let's actually figure out what you want to do.
mm.
Right?
Okay.
So you were on the right path, and sometimes that framework there I might do after the heaven, right?
Mm,
So everything that you know about me, do you think I could potentially get you there? Well, I do. Okay, cool. If you do nothing, where does this actually go?
yeah.
Right? It's the same framework and it's tied up, but it depends on how the conversation goes, where I'm going to put that framework in and what I'm going to do it.
Mm,
And with where she's at right now, I'd probably drop it here.
okay.
So you're doing great. Both of you guys are doing great.
Okay. So actually, let me ask her that. I think that's
Yep,
good
I agree.
for me also. So can I ask you something?
Mhm.
You've been in this position for 5 years and you got different kinds of feedback from different people. What is your understanding of why you are not getting picked up for these promotions?
Well, I guess the common denominator is me, you
Mm,
know,
you said,
like it's like, I honestly, I don't know why. I mean, is it discrimination? Is it that they, well, I don't know, like maybe, my husband keeps telling me I need to, toot my own horn, whatever the heck that means. And, I should be more demanding, but I just, it just doesn't feel right. Like, I just think my hard work should be enough. And, it's not, and it's really uncomfortable for me. Like I'm getting to the point that I don't even want to go to work anymore. Like honestly, I just, I'm angry. I'm angry. Like when my boss comes in, when Sally comes in and says, "Oh, I'm off this next week, so here's some other projects for you to take care of for me when I'm away." And it's like, I already have deadlines, and they just like I'm a workhorse for them, and like they just don't value me, and I'm really upset over that. Really, I just feel like I should just quit. One day, I just feel like going in there and just saying, "Have your work back. I quit. See if you can do it without me." But
mm,
I could never do that.
mm. You saw Renu's success story when she came to me. She felt exactly the same way. She was angry. She wanted her hard work to speak for herself. And she knew that she deserved that next level. Do you, well, the people who got picked up for promotion, why do you think they got picked up?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think they should have been. I think it's because that they were liked. They had, they were liked. People liked them. They were popular. They were at the water cooler, sort of in the coffee room, chatting it up with everyone when I'm, working. Like they were just more like they were, you know, bigger personalities, probably. I don't know. Maybe they're sleeping with the boss. No, Sally's a girl. I don't think that would be it. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't know why they got the jobs.
Yeah.
They're just more liked. I mean, that's embarrassing to say that I'm not liked then. But I think I'm liked, but I'm, yeah.
Mm.
So
And I am lost. I was actually trying to figure out, does she believe that she can become, that's where I wanted
It's,
to
it's,
go,
why,
but
it's why I raised my hand.
my
Oh,
question
I'm
was,
not trying to be difficult. I'm
No,
seriously
you're
trying to-
doing,
being perfect. Actually, you're being perfect.
you are.
It's
I
not
can get a job doing this then.
You should. It's very good. It's one thing. Yeah, role playing can be very difficult. I'm very good at, and you're very good at it too, Sue, of moving into someone else's space.
Yeah,
With,
I do it all the time.
and so if you were watching Sue and her body language,
Hmm.
what she was saying, and that first question, she kept looking down,
Hmm.
and it looked like she was on the verge. And yep, I'm back. I'm sorry. She kept looking down.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't have gone to that second question. But that is where I would have said, hey, Sue, I'm really worried for you.
Hmm.
Can I ask, when did you kind of draw a line of sand saying you were going to make a change?
Yeah, I made it complicated. Yeah,
Yep.
these are the things that I now need to just master.
Yep.
So
Because and because then she could have said, yeah, it happened on this day.
Hmm.
Right. And you could have said, well, let me ask. I mean, everything you know about me so far, do you feel like I'm the answer to help you actually get promoted and start getting the jobs that you deserve?
That would be perfect.
Having not seen the videos and stuff, so I really don't have the connection with you that this person should have in the role play. I almost feel like if you asked me that question, I wouldn't be able to answer it because I don't know. But that is probably because I don't have that history of the information.
Correct. Yep.
So, well, yeah, I'd be more inclined to like I'm feeling really downtrodden. I want some possibility here.
Yep.
I want to know that there's a way out for me, and I'm not getting that yet. That's how
Yeah.
as an individual in the role play, that's how I'm like, please, ask me like what's possible for me, like get me into possibility because I'm still beaten.
100%. You bring something really, really important too. If someone hasn't watched your stuff,
Yeah.
you would ask that question, or they're coming in blind and you would ask that question. Do you think they have no idea? So I wouldn't ask that question. Right.
Yeah.
But I would go the question of like, well, Sue, I'm a little concerned right now.
Mm.
Let me ask, when did you draw a line in the sand that you need to do something different so you can get promoted? And then whatever that answer was, I would probably say, cool.
Yeah.
Good. Because that's a commitment. I'm glad you've made that decision that you need to make a change.
Ooh, that's a good line.
Right. And hey, and so now you brought that up and you make that commitment and like, yeah, because you're going to say it because you just told me you made a commitment and I just affirmed that, right? You're anchoring a commitment to change at that moment. So now I can go, okay, Sue, I want a clear understanding now.
Hmm.
What is
Yeah.
the dream position you want? Paint me a picture of what that looks like. Cause I want to make sure I can get you there.
Yeah.
Right. Because now you're going up to the heaven because I just sunk you low and you just got to, I committed to making a change actually this day. Right. And I might have, depending on the answer, I might go again of, Sue, when did you make a decision you need to do something different? That was a couple of weeks ago. What happened that day?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So now they're going back into that point of their life of going, that was the day I made a decision. Cool. I'm bringing that emotion story back up. Cool. I'm reinforcing that you've made a decision already, even before you jumped on this call. And I'm making you make a commitment on this call. Okay, cool. So Sue, let me ask just so I make sure I can get you there. Paint me a picture of what is this dream position you want, right? Because now I'm bringing you up to start. You made a commitment to get the hell out of the crap. Let's figure out where you want to go now, right? And if you haven't seen my material, I can't say, so do you think I can solve your problem here, right? But if you have, I can ask that just to confirm that before we go to the heaven, right? Which is why having some previous materials can be so powerful, because if you just told me you made a decision to change a couple weeks ago, well, cool, awesome, good. What about my stuff so far makes you think that I can actually help solve this? Well, it's this, cool. Well, I want to make sure that I can do that for you and have you be like Priya, who you saw, or whoever So paint me a picture of what this looks like, because now you're bought in to the change. Now you just told me why you're bought into me being the solution. Now we're going to paint that picture of the gap, and we're going to talk about the heaven, and we're going to talk about the hell, and I might reinforce me before I can quickly go, well, do you want me to show you what it really looks like to work with me as I go into the proposal? And they'll be like, yeah, I do.
Mhm.
Right. And that whole thing anchored a commitment, anchored their commitment to change. The stories of that whole life situation played in their mind, and everything they know about you. Like, I'm on this phone because, yeah, it seems like you solved the problem. And that is someone that is solution ready. So now that proposal, I know they're ready to say yes. They might not say yes to me after I give them a proposal, but they've already said yes in their mind.
Well, and the thing too is when you ask me that question about, and I tell you when I made a decision, it's like I almost cannot not buy from you at that point because I
100%.
like like fondly I'm trapped. Like
Right.
yeah, I just admitted that I need help. I need, yeah, like that is such a pivotal. That's the moment of the sale, really, for my
Yep. And that's where commitment comes into play. And like when I went through the 5 steps,
Oh,
the
it's
commitment,
huge.
right? It's
Yeah,
huge.
such
And
a
that's
sweet spot.
Yep. And that's why pre-sale materials could be so beneficial, and why having the 3 P's conversation up front is so important.
Mm.
Because they're telling you already the reason they came in, what the solution they were after, what their problems are, and the purpose of the call. So now when they tell you this commitment on top of that, and then I go and I double down, so everything you know about me, why do you think that I can potentially make this outcome come true for you? Now they're going to go, yeah, this is why. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure this is going to work. Let's paint this picture. Right. And to your point, you just said yes and committed to that at that moment.
Mhm. Interesting.
And now we need to build believability, trust, confidence, and conviction in them, which is that heaven. Because now we need to anchor a goal of what they want, take that goal away, and then give the proposal, which is that bridge between the two. And through that whole process, now I can actually dial in and knock down exactly a proposal that is everything you told me. It's not a cookie cutter. I do one-on-ones, and then you go through modules, and then you jump around every day doing jumping jacks, and magically you're delicious, right? No, you tie in that proposal. Hey, Sue, this is exactly where I'm going to get there. So then at the end, so Sue, the investment to work with me is 10K. How do you want to proceed? Cool, let's go. Right. And so that whole sequence there from that moment, which is why, and Bill was talking about discovery phase yesterday. It's why the 3 P's are so important, and starting exactly where you're at so we can get to this commitment section, because this is now where the magic happens. And if I'm doing a two call close, I normally get to about that commitment section. And then, okay, so this looks great. I'm going to jump off the phone. We're going to jump off here. We're going to schedule you. I'm going to send you some more information. So then when the second call comes in, I can start from that point. Hey, when you went through that stuff, obviously we talked, and you're looking at making a change here, and boom, 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 boom. And then I can go right into heaven and hell. Now, everyone should go in planning a 1 call close, but if someone didn't have information and I'm not sure if they're going to be confident in what I'm going to give them, that's where I might kind of do a turn. I rarely ever do that at all, but I'm just throwing it out there because we kind of talked about 2 call closes,
Mhm.
right? But you can see the power of that. So let's start from that section and continue.
Okay. Okay. So I'm really concerned for you. So when did you decide to draw a line in the sand and say that I want to change my situation? Was it, 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago? When was it?
With Sally, when she dumped all those extra projects on me because she was taking time off. That
Mm.
just was the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, that just was so unfair of her. And the deadlines were like Monday, and then I had to do her work, and then my work I was delayed on, and that was, I just made, I just can't do that anymore. Like that just, it was so unfair. I just, I'm obviously being taken advantage of. I bet they're laughing about me. I bet she went home and told her husband Jack that you know, how she probably set it up. I bet she didn't even do those. I bet she didn't even do the work, knowing that she would just slough it off on me when she was gone.
Mm,
Huh. I bet, she probably laughed at that too.
mm,
Good old Sue, who can step in and do all the workhorse. That was the day that got me. That
mm,
was not
mm.
fair. Not
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
I was pissed. I was angry. I was really upset over that.
Yeah.
I almost walked out.
Based on, what you saw in the workshop that I conducted,
Mm.
based on, the testimonials that you saw, do you think that I can actually help you overcome these challenges and get you there?
Well, I haven't found anything else that's going to help me get there.
Mhm.
And that testimonial, if I could just have a part of what she got, she seems so confident
Mm.
and so happy in her, and she got promoted. So like, yeah, like I'd like that too.
Yeah. So just to make sure that I can help you get where Renu is now, uh, paint
Double
me.
down and brag.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that's exactly what I do in my program. This is where we help women from being seen as workhorses to actually being those leaders, so that nobody can actually dare to dump work on them, and respect them, and give them the recognition that they deserve. So just so I'm sure that I can help you
I'm
get
gonna
there.
say I'm gonna say one thing there though.
Okay.
The low tone of you guys' conversation,
Mhm.
and you went to a level 10,
Because you said brag, and
which
I
isn't
was
which isn't bad, right? You got excited, but
yeah.
that excitement is going to immediately
Yeah.
jar her out of the emotion. So we want to be very careful with that and go, Sue, I'm glad you view it that way.
Yeah.
I want to let you know 100% what I do.
Hmm. Okay.
And I help tons of women achieve what she did.
Hmm.
And guess what? They all just started exactly where you are sitting in
Hmm.
a chair you are right now in this moment.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Make
I
it.
want to be I want to be 100% certain I can get you there. So
Hmm.
let's talk about like what does your dream position look like?
Yeah.
So I was bragging, I was confident, I was assertive there and showing leadership to help lead her through that,
Yeah.
right? But I didn't get really right because that sudden change will, right? It's just like when we've all been on a sales call, we're talking to someone and the salesperson just pounces on us, right? And that would have had that probably jarring effect. And if you ask Sue, that's probably it was probably a jar real quick
Yeah.
type of deal, role play or not, right?
Mhm.
So just be careful of that and always be cautious when you are talking because yeah, those slight things are major factors when you're talking about closing or not closing, pulling somebody in,
Yeah.
them extend their hand or pulling away.
Yeah. And this is great ninja feedback, because even I was not feeling great about, increasing my voice and all of that. So, so, sure, Sue, 100%. Uh, I have helped not only Renu, but hundreds of women just like her to get from being seen as workhorses to be seen as those leaders who get the respect and recognition that they deserve. And just so I am 100% certain that I can help you get there, paint me a picture of what that dream position would look like.
I want Sally's job.
Then,
Yeah, because like, right now, like I supervise two minions, like two people. And,
Mhm.
Sally has the whole department where there's, like I really feel like I've earned it. And I've got the skill and I have the history and I have the experience. Like I really feel that I would want Sally's job or, equivalent of her job in a different department even. but I really feel like I've earned that. That's what I see. And then, you know, that would give me more money. We could get the car that we want. Like we're, you know, I'm driving a 20, well, not quite 20, but a 14-year-old car. And, you know, if I, you know, we just can't afford it. Yeah, you know, like we're stretched. And I just think if I got that promotion, then I could get the new car or a newer car at least. You know, because, you know, we had to put the clutch in it last month and it just like, we don't have the money for that. It's frustrating,
Yeah.
you know, and my husband's always like, you should do better. And that's, you
Can
know,
I make an observation, Sue?
what's that?
Your face just lit up when you talked about
The
that
car?
the position that you want for yourself. Where is that fire coming from?
Well, I just think I deserve it. I
Mm,
think it's, you know, I need to do something different. Like I need to let them know.
mm. Right.
But the thought of that just terrifies me because, you know, I don't know if I could.
Okay. So other than having a bigger team, you mentioned you want to.
So you did a really good job of bringing that up,
Okay.
and I would double down on it even.
Okay.
Hey, Sue, what would it feel like if you felt that way every single day and every hour you're at work?
Mm, okay.
Right? Because now it's going to anchor her being that person in the future
Mm,
very powerfully.
okay. Okay. Hey Sue, how would it feel? How would it be for you if you felt that way every single day, every hour of the day? That you are leading, you are in charge.
Well, I would feel great. I mean, you know, I would feel proud, I guess. You know, I would feel accomplished that I made it, that I, you know, finally got recognized.
Mhm. Yeah. What's the salary you want to, what's the salary that you are looking for or aspiring for?
Well,
I'm gonna
I'm,
stop there real quick there too.
yeah.
Okay.
You never want to go back to logic after hitting that emotion,
Oh, good point. Yeah.
right? Because if you're going to ask about that, it just throws the whole thing off because it's not about the salary, it's not about the position,
Yeah,
it's about
true,
who she
true.
becomes,
Yeah.
right? And so if you would have started with, hey, well, what's the salary that you're looking for in the position, just so I'm aware, because you want to get her to this point of what she did. So because her salary doesn't matter,
Mm.
right? So that is right there. Then I would be
Already
yeah, I'm already there. Flip side of the coin.
okay. So now don't tell me the next. I want to do it and then you can give me feedback. Um, so that's amazing. But here's the truth. You know, the reality, you know, this is one of the realities too, that you don't do anything today. Things continue the same way as they are. And you continue to be seen as a workhorse. Sally keeps dumping work on you. Are you okay with that?
No, no. I mean, that last weekend that she did that, you know, I could barely look at her when she got back. Yeah, no, I can barely look at her. I have no respect for that woman now. None. And it's hard to work for someone like that. So no, I just, yeah, I can't. I
Who do you
can't.
think who do you think you will let down if you continue to stay stuck?
Well, you know, myself, obviously, but you know, also the household. I should be bringing in more money than I am. There's, you know, we're just kind of getting by, and that extra, you know, income would help. And I heard that they get bonuses at that level too, and like that would be amazing. A bonus. we might be able to, you know, go on a little bit of a vacation. That would be nice. Take the
Yeah.
kids. Yeah.
So I am 100% certain that I can help you get there. Do you want me to walk you through how I can take you there?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sold though, I'll be honest. Time out. I don't know why. Emotionally,
Okay.
now I'm a tire kicker. I feel like I just shifted into tire kicker mode. Don't know why, but I
That
did.
that last question.
Yeah. It's like,
What-
sure, walk me through. Like
Oh.
that's, and I don't know if it's just me coming through this role play or not by accident, but I'm trying to figure out whether my demure self would say, I mean, I'd say, sure. Of course I'm not, I'd be stupid not to, well, sure, show me what you got. That's kind of how I'm feeling, but I'm not feeling like I can't wait to buy from you. I'm
Okay.
dropping nuggets about money in, and I don't know if you're noticing that.
Yeah, yeah. And so let me ask this question real quick. You know, when you made the commitment and we were talking that, were you a tire kicker ready to buy?
I was ready to buy because she brought me to the edge of frustration, anger, and possibility.
Yep.
Like I think possibility to me, and then this is also triggering my own self, is when I get hooked to possibility, nothing matters.
Yep.
And I often feel it's like when the prospect sees what's possible for themselves and believes it,
Yep.
then that's the sweet spot.
Yep. And the reason why I asked that question, because halfway through the call, when you were in the commitment section, you were ready to buy. You didn't even talk about the heaven or hell yet.
Mhm.
Now here, right before you moved into proposal, you shifted out of a tire kicker, right? Which is why I said, you know, when you were doing the heaven and you kind of asked about, well, what salary do you want? You went to a logical thing.
Mm.
Also, the transition to the hell
Mm.
was choppy and it didn't flow. And
Mm.
so it kind of broke that and kind of moving back. Well, I'm not sure now. Now you could potentially, you can still potentially get her with the proposal, but there'd probably be an objection that pops up, which that's not right or wrong. But and the good thing is you weren't afraid to double down on the why do you need to do this now,
Mhm.
right? But you didn't need to because you already got that commitment up, really
Mhm.
solid commitment up front. And so the doubling down,
So I didn't need to bring her back to here's the reality.
right,
If you don't do anything, right? Okay.
right. So if you think of it this way, let's say you broke your leg and you go to the doctor and you grab and he comes at like, oh, it hurts here?
Mm.
And you're like, yeah, it hurts really bad right there. And he goes, wait, like here? Right? Then you're gonna get fucking pissed, right?
Mhm.
Like you like, and so that's always
Mm.
thing that when you're talking about, because again, you know, other sales strategies that people use, what do? They're manipulating, they're trying to get people to cry, they're
Mhm.
trying to put them in such a horrible state. Well, psychologically, that puts you in fight, flight, response. And people can't make decisions in fight, flight, response.
But
And so we have to be, go ahead.
didn't you like teach this framework that you show them the dream and take that dream away from them?
Yes. And you did a good job taking the dream away.
Yeah.
But once you took the dream away,
Mm-hmm.
then you said, well, who would you be letting down?
Mm-hmm.
And she went me.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went to fluff. Well, then the household. And I wouldn't be making enough money, which people don't make change just because of money. It was the emotional state. So she actually backtracked herself out of buying into a tire kicker because you went a second layer lower, which sometimes, yes, you need to do, right? Because sometimes when you ask that question, well, who'd you be letting down if you didn't do something?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd be letting down in my household. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and what else? Well, I wouldn't be making enough money. Okay, cool. What you're trying to get him to say is, I would be letting myself down, right? To really double
She
down.
already did. You know, she
Right,
said at the very
right. And that
beginning.
was the very first thing. But then she went the opposite way
Mm-hmm.
and talked herself out. But you didn't need to ask who'd you be letting yourself down, because she already told you she'd be letting herself down. She already told you, Sally, like this is unacceptable. I literally next time I see her,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I might end up in jail for murder for all I know, right? Is what she was kind of expressing, right? There was hatred there. I am not going to let this go any further.
Okay.
Right. So you didn't have to try to dig deeper. And that's the problem, is if we dig too hard, either you push somebody away, you piss them off, or it will actually lead them to think manually themselves to walk themselves out of it. Because sometimes we run from fear, we run from pain, right? And that's what she did. Well, I let myself down. And the moment she said that, that was the truth. But then the next things out of her mouth were masks to cover herself up from that truth. And she went back to that female. And so we caused an unnecessary wall that we needed to overcome there. Well, everything was really good. And so if we go back to that dream, and Katie, I'll let you in a second. If we get back to that dream, and I know that we had a break there and you jumped in, right? So it's not going to be the smoothest, right? So I'm not critiquing that at all. But hey, Sue, I mean, we have to look at reality too. Like, I love that dream and I help women get there. But the other side of that coin is, where would you be in 6 months from now or 12 months from now if you don't do anything?
Okay.
Right. And that's sometimes where verbiage is. Hey, the truth is, if you don't do anything, your life sucks. That doesn't come across very well, and you can push people away, rather than, hey, you know, if we don't do anything today, you just keep doing what you're doing, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, I mean, are you at your job? Have you quit in frustration? Where do things really lead if we don't do anything today? It's here. So if you don't do anything today, right, and you tie that back down, now I wouldn't go directly into the, hey, who do you be letting yourself down unless, but she's going to tell you after, where would this lead? And then, like you said, well, are you okay with that outcome? No, I'm not. Why? And that's the miss you piece. You jumped right away because, okay, are you okay with that outcome? No, why? Why aren't you? And that's the tie down that would have sunk her, because then she would have said, well, because I want to make more money. I can't let Sally win. I can't let myself down. Those are all the things she's going to think. I can't let this happen. Okay. So, Sue, do you want me to show you how I make sure that dream is achievable, and how I help women like you've seen to achieve that? Do you want me to walk you through that? Now that's a lot smoother of a process. It keeps her in the emotional state to go into it. Go ahead, Katie.
I'm learning a lot. This is a good one. Thank you, ladies. So in ours, I think a lot of what was happening in my old calls, our offer is relationships, and it's about your kids. The way it was before, it's only about kids. And it's so painful. So I'm seeing now, like, they were already telling me how painful it is. They were telling me on the job form before they get on. Like, we got 3 job forms this week, and I was like, good Lord, this is so much pain. So to walk them through a process of like, hey, and so what's that gonna do to them for the rest of their life? Like, this sick, horrible, like you just said, like, oh, it hurts right here. Well, let's just take that whole leg off and talk about what that's gonna be like. Awful. So once we have that, like for us, even without them being pre-sold like they are now, they're already in a ton of pain, and they've already told us that on their application. We want to be really careful, and it almost seems like we pretty quickly in the conversation are going to, when did you make a decision to really jump into something like this that's going to change it? And what happened that day? And when that's still painful, we're not going back to what's going to happen to Johnny when he's 25 years old and you didn't do something, right? We're not doing that.
Yep. Correct.
It's just, so then to be gentle about that after the dream, what's at stake if nothing changes? So are you okay with nothing changes? I feel like we even need to shorten that because it's already so painful. Like, tell me the dream. Okay, so today, knowing that's what's possible, are you okay continuing the way it's been going?
Correct. 100%. And that's the one thing, like with the script, and I tell all you guys, go through all the, like, when you understand each section, cool, you have a script there with questions to ask, and they're just your generic questions, right? you should be rewriting each one of those questions 10 different ways and in your
Yeah.
own verbiage and being you and
Yep.
direct it of, because understanding what this question, why are you asking this question, right? And that's where the game will change. Once you understand what question you're asking and why,
Yeah.
and what's leading someone, then that's what I talk about frameworks, because that question, I really ask about 5 serious questions during a sales call. Those 5 questions are the ones that get a commitment. They tell me why I'm the solution.
Yeah.
They tell me their dream, why they can't do it, and why I'm the perfect fit, and why
Yep.
they want to move forward with me. Right? That's really it. The
Yeah.
rest of it's a normal conversation. Go ahead, Cindy.
So does it just take like some practice and some time in the saddle to know that you haven't taken it too far?
Say that one more time. You kind of cut out there at the end.
Yeah, sorry, I'm in the mountain. I'm gonna turn my video off. Does it just some time in the saddle, comfort difficult questions to know we've gone too far?
That is a really good question. And that is where you have to trust your intuition sometimes. And that's where really watching a person, like
Okay.
earlier in the call, when I kind of, hey, did you see Sue constantly looking down, which is why I would have asked the question of like, okay, she's playing some things in her mind right now. I need to ask her what's going on in the mind. And so by saying, so Sue, let me ask, when did you actually make that decision to never let this happen again? Well, that's when Sally dropped all this stuff on my desk, right? So now she's saying her story out loud and making it really real and present in the conversation. And so you will, to know how deep to go with somebody, again, it's just listening and watching them and using your intuition. And, there's a lot of people that believe, hey, I need to dig really deep. Like I'm going to go 4 or 5 steps just to make sure. But I see that being just as detrimental as it can be positive. And so you just have to know how to read the room and who you're talking with. And you're talking with doctors, and it's going to be much like a Sue thing. If you go too deep with them, they're going to be like, get the fuck out of here. Their egos and pride's going to take over. Right. And so we have to be very careful with that. And Katie brought up a really good point. And, going like, so if you don't do anything today, and we just go 6 months from now, best case scenario, you're dealing with the exact same stuff you are now. Are you okay with that outcome? Right? You don't always need to go to extreme hell because some people are in it.
Mm-hmm.
But using the verbiage of like best case scenario, things stay the same. And in the women you're talking, in the families you're talking with, that's a really good position to be at, because they can very easily, well, I'm going to wait till things get worse. Best case scenario, 6 months from now, you're in the exact same position. Are you okay with that outcome? No, I'm not. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. And then, yep, do the tie all back together. And do you want to see what it actually looks like working together? Go ahead, Katie.
You've handled some role play with me about finances that was really, really good. When you drop, this concerns me because you just told me about a day that is intolerable to you. That wasn't tolerable to you. You've also told me there's no wiggle room and you don't think you can get into a program like this. Where do you go from here? Is that a bully moment to bring that up? Because that's where I would bring up this is concerning. You just told me you can't do this anymore to your kids. And you told me on your application, there's no wiggle room. Essentially, you're a tire kicker, but I'm not going to say that. Is this when you would bring that up? So Jermaine and I are in conversation about when we talk about the investment, because they're already telling us everyone knows the caliber of what we're doing. And I've run with them for so long. Their pain is all up at the surface. The people we're working with this week, they've been working with me for free and they are in pain and they need this. But they're also like, by the way, I can't spend any money. So, hey, that concerns me. Is that,
So,
talk us through that?
so a few different things here, and I want to start with, you know, when you have unqualified people come in, a lot of them are unqualified. They don't have the financial means to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's an unqualified individual. Now, your goal is not to enroll people, right? It's for them to make a commitment to a change and do something different and make that, whether they can afford your stuff or not.
Right.
Now, right now, with you guys going through your community, you're going to have people, you're going to jump on sales calls and they might not have the money.
Yeah.
But anybody who wants to do this is going to find a way to make it happen.
Yep.
Right. And
Yeah.
so the old mental mindset of the old process you went through, everybody's showing up and no one buys from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're bringing that past history and experience
Yeah.
into reality, which is completely different.
Yes.
So let that go and don't even care about it. Because I don't care if someone buys or not.
Sure.
Right. In the aspect of the transfer of money, I'm concerned you make a decision.
Yeah.
Now we'll figure out the rest together.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now
Yeah.
to answer the next question of like, when do you bring up money? Right? Like we role played yesterday and it came up right away.
Yeah.
Right? Now there's multiple different phrases, points of view here. And we're just going to essentially two ways. So like when Dr. Garv asked Sue of going in, do you want me to walk you through this? One frame and perception is, okay, to work with me is $10,000. And you start off with the money right off the bat. Because the elephant in the room, right? And then your proposal actually builds a value to why that $10,000 is needed.
Yeah.
The other point of view is you bring it up afterwards. You have that proposal, you go through and, hey, to work with me is $10,000. That is 90% of the time the way that I go.
Okay, cool.
Now, the reason why is because, and the 10% I don't, it's because they're a logical thinker and I know that. So that's where I dropped the 10 right off the bat.
Yeah.
If you take someone that's emotional from an emotional conversation, you want to see how it works with me. Cool, it's $10,000. It puts them right back into a logical state and you lose people immediately.
Yep.
So it's better to go through it and then, cool, awesome. Well, it's $10,000. Do you want to get started? So you guys, I would say you always do it at the end.
Cool. Awesome.
Now, what, and actually speaking about that too. So you guys have been taught a lots of different ways of giving pricing. Right? You were taught before of like, hey, my program is normally $15,000, but if you start today, I take off $5,000 as a fast action discount to really honor you and blah, blah, blah. And that's $10,000. And if you want to pay in full, I take off an additional $2,000. So it's either $8,000 or $5,000 today, $5,000 in 30 days. What works best for you? Confused buyers don't buy it. It's one of the worst ways you can pitch your price. It's awful. It's awful. Right. And if I go back even to fitness 20 years ago when I was working at Gold Gyms, we had like 5 memberships people could start with. One was like $800 down, $10 a month. One was $0 down, $70 a month, and every option in between variation you could think of, right? To try to fit into anyone's budget however they wanted. Through me talking with somebody, the very first question I would ask, if you're purchasing something, would you rather put more up front so your monthly fee is extremely low, or does it make more sense to have very little up front but have your monthly fee higher, but in the grand scheme of things over 18 months it's the same price? What works better for you? Well, I'd rather put no down. Okay, cool. Well, we got this $0 down option and it's $79 a month. Does that work? Okay, cool. Yeah. I would rather put bunch and lower. Okay, cool. It's $800 to get started and it's $10 a month. Right? I didn't confuse them by listing off 5 different options. Now, the other thing, looking at when I drop a price, it is a flat number. So $10,000, $6,000, $8,000, $5,000, whatever it may be. The reason behind that, because it's straight to the point, clear, and concise. The other thing, if I have to break up into payments, it's easy to break up into payments really, really quickly. It's the most powerful way to do it. Now, pricing on a call, that's by far would I see the highest percentage of success going across that. If we're talking on a landing page, book to cart, my answer is very different. It wouldn't be $5,000. It'd be 4,997.
Yeah.
Now, to talk about that, 4,997 actually has a way higher conversion rate than 5,000. Like a 30% increase. 4,997 actually has like a 20% increase on 4,999. You go to Walmart, you always see 97 because they fucking know. So on a book a cart, yes, 4,997 is key. On a sales call, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible to help them to move into the next step. You start calculating math numbers, that sucks. They're gone. It makes it hard. So with you guys' offer, I can go, it's $6,000 for the next 90 days. How do you want to proceed from here? Well, I wasn't expecting that much. Okay, cool. What were you expecting? Well, 1,000. Okay, cool. Knowing it's 6,000, does that make this an impossibility for you or not? Well, no, I want to do it. I just don't have $6,000. Okay, cool. Let's break it into payments. Right now, those payments are really easy of 222 or 33. Right? You start doing 497. Okay, well, now it's going to be a payment of 196.4 or 3 payments of it gets really muddy. So that's why it's just nice to have a really simple crystal number. It's very easy to, number one, say yes to in your brain because you don't have to think. The yes or no. 10K worth it for you or not? So that's how I do it. And like I said, before or after, really depends on who I'm talking to. 90% of the time, I do it afterwards because now I've built that value. I've taken emotion. I've stacked all my value through my proposal. And it's a very easy thing. So Katie, do you have? And,
Yeah.
and when we study the proposal, you'll see how I actually get people to commit to this as perfect for them 3 times. But after the 3rd time, like, hey, do you see this being the keys to the castle? Yeah, I do. Okay, cool. So to get started with me, the investment is $6,000. How do you want to proceed from here?
Yeah.
And then they will.
They're like, oh crap, I gotta figure that out.
Yeah. And they'll sit
Yeah.
there and think for a second, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is when you walk into a Walmart, if I use that as an example again, you walk into a Walmart, right? Or a clothing store at the mall. What immediately happens when you walk in the door? Welcome to Walmart. Can I help you? What's your initial reaction?
Stop talking to me. I'm here to get my stuff.
It's a no. Yep. Run away and no. Right. So the moment you say it's 6K, how do you want to proceed from here? Be ready. The people have trained themselves to immediately say no, even though they already said yes. So just because they say no or sit there doesn't mean they're not buying from you. So give some people a second to sit sometimes.
Yeah.
Because 3 seconds sometimes feels like 3 seconds of silence can feel like 30 seconds of silence or 3 minutes of silence, right? And oftentimes we can jump in and say something, which they're mathematically figuring, well, I've got 4,000 on this card. I've got 500 on this card. I get paid next week. I've got this, and they're calculating numbers. I already said yes or calculating numbers. But then I go, well, if this doesn't work, I can maybe break up my payments. And now I'm throwing a bunch of things off, right? And so you always wait for them to react before you say anything.
Yep.
But they're trained to say no, so you might get an objection immediately, like, well, I need to think about this.
Yeah.
Again, they already said yes in their mind. They already decided to do it. They're giving a think about it objection, and all of a sudden now you're trying to fight. Well, I feel, others have felt the same way, and what we found is if you just give me money today, you're magically going to feel better tomorrow. Right? Like the feel found doesn't work. No, you have to get behind that. And we'll train objections too very deeply so you understand that. And I don't call it objection handling. I call it carrying curiosity. So if you just told me yes all the way through this and immediately you go, well, I need to think about this. Holy shit, I need to get curious as fuck why you just need to think about it now all of a sudden.
Yeah.
After you just told me in our whole conversation. What's going on?
The women literally tell me every time, I cannot do that again. We cannot keep going like this. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Want to see what it looks like? It's 3K. Oh, no. Nope. Yeah. Jermaine has a question.
And right now with your community,
Yeah,
because some of them have been trained, it's just free in here.
totally. We've been too
Right.
generous. Yeah.
That now when some of them come, it's not that they're not looking to invest, and a lot of them will, but you will have some people it's like, I wasn't expecting that much. This really sucks now.
Yeah.
And it's going to hurt you a little bit
Yeah.
because you're going to want to help this person out, but they don't have the
Oh,
money
yeah.
to afford it. Right.
Yeah.
And that's where you go, well, hey, we've got this $200 a month option.
Yeah.
We go through the skills. We have a sales call or a coaching call once a week, which I think you should probably do every other week to put
Cool.
a disparity between everything
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
a month. And say that you go through this, it's $200 a month. Does that fit better within your budget for now?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that works. I don't want to see you go off on your own, but having
Right.
that option to drop to it, right?
Yeah.
So always don't ever drop to that unless you actually need to it.
Yeah. Jermaine.
Oh, yeah.
Hi,
Yep.
This is my Jermaine, everybody. We are hybrid and rolling.
Hey, so Scott, thank you for having me. I did
Yeah,
have
you're welcome.
I come from the very hard sales. My whole career was prospecting myself, cold calling, booking one cold closes, meeting with him that day, closing the deal that day.
Yep.
Now coming back sales. So I love this part about presenting price at the end. That has been my training, and how I trained my reps is to build value, not sell. People will buy when they understand the value. So that's where I come from. The question I had was on the pricing. I am with you on I like the instead of $29.97 instead of $29.99. So thank you for that.
Yep.
But I have also understood that numbers need to be written down. I avoid non-selling words like the plague. So thousands, hundreds, monthly payment, fine, contract, all of that. So I had an idea for presenting this because it's a Zoom call, using my whiteboard and being able to then still see the client because you have your little video there, but they can follow along and see me writing the numbers down for them. And then this is just how I've always presented price, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I always put paid in full on the table by itself. And because price is coming up at the very, very end, I actually do not discuss, I do price disclosure, but then I go into enrollment or something else to get them excited about the program. Payments don't come up for me until it's the last thing I do before I leave. Because they're bought in, the sale is more solid at that point. So I feel like it's a good place where I can push back a little bit on the paid in full. For example, reminding them of miles or points on their credit cards or cash back, for example. People don't always think about that. I don't know why. But so I do paid in full by itself. And I just softly, not hard close, just see if it's an option. If it's not, then I typically present 2 payment options, and there's a very specific way of writing it. So in this case, it would be $9.97 today, and let's say 1, so 1,000. I'm not going to say 1,000. I'll say 1 over 2, or $9.97 today and 5 over 4. Which one works best for you? I don't really care what they pick. I just love using the choice clause. And if the down payment is a problem, they'll typically just tell me at this point because we've built rapport, they're sold, they're signed up, and they'll just typically tell me, yikes, I can't do that today. And then we work on that piece of it. So I just wanted to know what your thoughts were about that process. And again, it will be written down. so they will see as I'm talking, because some people are visual learners. But I just wanted to hear your feedback on that and what you thought about it. Instead of saying 3K, if I'm writing it down for them, can we still use that benefit of the $29.97 because they're seeing it written down, or would you not do that? And what do you think about that process of presenting payment that way?
All of those are good questions and a lot of little things there. So I'm going to start off from my opinion. You're using a crutch and it's going to cause you to lose the race.
Okay, how is that?
I'm actually use a post that Sue put out the other day where she's going through someone's master class, and at the very end, where like Russell Brunson's perfect webinar structure at the very end. Hey, you know, if you could join today, you're going to get this thing for $10,000. You're going to get this thing that's worth $5,000. You're going to get this thing worth $40,000. You're going to get this. All of this is worth $30,000 only for today for $4,997. Sue absolutely hates that. Majority of people do as well.
Okay, I guess
So-
I was just asking
No, I know,
about-
but I'm using that for a preface point.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm using it as a preface point on a Zoom call, you don't need a board. You feel comfortable with it because you've done it in the past. You don't need that. Just giving somebody the space and just the ease of going. So to get started, the investment is $3,000. It's that simple. It's a decision. $3,000. That's the investment. Writing on the board, whether you put it at $3,000 or $2,997, actually is going to confuse them more. And in my opinion, it gets them to look at it and people start writing notes. And yeah, go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, to me, that would vibe wrong. It almost feels like when you get a car loan, although I haven't done that for decades, but when you get a car loan at the bank and they show you the paper and it's all there, like when you start putting numbers up on a screen on a Zoom call, suddenly I'm focused on the amount and it takes me out of the emotion. Like it would lose me. It would make me feel like, oh shit, this is real money. Like it makes it look more expensive. It totally would make me feel like I'm buying a house where the numbers are written down, or like a big purchase. It would lose me. It would feel like it just emotionally it triggers me. So that's just me, but it does trigger me to feel like it just makes the purchase, like my breath is almost going away. Like it's just like I want to gulp for air, thinking, holy shit, I have to come up with this money. Whereas if you just give it a number verbally, it's easier for me to think, oh, I can get that. I don't know. That's just
Yep. And after you've value stacked and you've gone through your prezo and you just very simply go, so to move forward from here, the investment's $3,000. It's a yes or no decision because either that they do or they don't, right? Now, if it goes into a payment plan option, right? And if you write out $3,000, you start writing out payment plans, again, that's very confusing. So if I'm breaking payments up for people, no, it's $3,000 to get started with me. That's it. That's the only option I'm giving somebody. I'm not going to give them multiple options because I don't want, to your point, you want this to be very simple. You don't want it to be confusing. And if you hold something up, again, it's taking someone to a logical. There was actually a client where I was reviewing his sales calls, and right when he went to the proposal, he would always say, so I want you to grab a pen and paper and take notes for this. Because that's what he did back in the day when he was selling insurance.
Mhm.
Hey, let's sit down and write out these things together as you're sitting across the table. Write down the notes. And you would hear the people actually in their vocal tones completely get lost, get disconnected, and they would lose any sort of emotional decision making. And then you would drop the price and be like, well, I need to go and think about this. Because now you just gave them a bunch of notes they have to think about. Rather than just saying, hey, my offer is $10,000. How do you want to proceed from here? Well, I want to get started, but I don't have $10,000. Okay, cool. That's not a problem. I'm never going to let someone that wants a result, that is looking for the result, wants to work with me, have money become in the way of you actually joining us. So is it you don't have the full $10,000 right now, or you don't feel like investing $10,000 in my program is worth it? Why don't I have the $10,000 right now? Okay, that's not a problem. Let's figure something out. Are you open to having a discussion about that? Yeah. Well, let me ask, could you put $7,000 down now to start? We figure out how to pay the other three. That I don't have that amount. How much would you have right now? Well, I could put 4 down. Okay, well, now I am concerned because the other 6, are you gonna be able to put 2,000 down in 30 days or $3,000 in 30 days and another $3,000 in 60 days? Is that gonna work for you? Yes, I can make that work. Are you sure? Yeah, 100%. Okay, cool. Let's do 4K today and we'll set up the final payments after that. Walk through and problem solve with them if it comes to a problem. Don't make a problem that's not there. And that's my biggest thing of why I want to make it easy. It's $6,000 to get started. Does this work? It's $3,000. Does this work? It's yes or no. It's a black or white. Do you want your heaven or do you want your hell? Which is better? Right. And if people are coming in pre-sold, you have this conversation with them, a very easy decision like that in that emotional state where they just told you a bunch of times, yeah, I want to do this, committed to do it. $3,000 is an easy thing. And a lot of the people you talk to, I'll tell you what, they've walked into stores and had no problem dropping $1,500 for a TV. They didn't need to think about it. They didn't need payment plans. They just threw it on a credit card, right? They went and bought a cell phone for $2,000 to have $60 taken out every month for the next who knows many years of their life, right? They have all done it because they valued what it was. So if they're valuing it, $3,000, this is what it is. No different. Hey, your phone's $1,500, but we will have payment plans. Hey, it's $3,000, yes or no? So do you agree with my perspective of it or not?
Well, I do in the sense of that Zoom is different. I disagree respectfully because of my experience and my career there. And I read their training manuals, and I actually was their national trainer. I managed my own sales group people as well. And I was in the top 3% of the jobs I held. And it was because of it was actually to avoid confusion, throwing a bunch of numbers at people what we saw was they were confused, just hearing it and not seeing it. They didn't know what we meant when we said $29.97. They needed to see that. But I understand where you're coming from. In the sense of with Zoom, it is a little different. We're not in person. We're not sitting at a table together. I can see that. That does make sense. So I do see that. In person is probably a little different. So
Can I make an observation real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Katie.
Well, I think what I felt, Jermaine, when we role played it, and I didn't think about this in the moment, I thought about it later. And I feel like part of what a layer of what we're talking about is in when I think you wrote the program down too. Is that right? Like the bullet points of the
like
process
point to bring it together.
Yes. I was wondering when we did it, why did I shut down at that time? And now that we're talking about it here, I think it was because I was in the feeling of getting out of the pain that I was in. And I went to, is this program worth it? Rather than making a decision about, I can't do that to Elijah. I can't do that to him ever again. Okay, it's $3,000 to get started. Okay, I have to find it because I can't do that to Elijah. But it had nothing to do with how many weeks or what the modules are or how close we're going to walk together. It was just, I can't do that to him. I can't do that to him. And I feel like I needed to stay there in order to just walk in. So I think when the visual came out, I left that place, which I think is what we're talking about.
Yeah, and I would advise against never using, rarely using a pitch deck, especially on a Zoom call.
By pitch deck, you mean breaking down, here's what you
Having,
get
have
for
any sort of
XYZ.
slides or anything that's breaking anything down,
Any visual.
any visual, it moves people out of emotional state into a logical state.
So when you say to them, okay, so now we're clear, they can't do that ever again. Do you want to see what it looks like to work with us? And they go, yeah, I got to see what it looks like. What exactly is next? Because I know you and I didn't even talk about that. I was like, yes, thank you, let's go. And you were like, well, do you want to know what we're going to do together? I was like, I kind of do, but I didn't care. I wanted to make it happen. So where do you go if they're in that pain and we say, do you want to see what it looks like, how we take women through this?
Yep, and then you go through the proposal, you go through what you do with somebody,
Yeah.
but you don't pull up, hey, I'm gonna pull up this screen for you. That's gonna shift them right out of emotional into a logical type
Yeah.
of process.
So I haven't looked at I feel like a poor student right now, not studying the proposal yet. The way I would do it, and so this is just if I was role playing this right now, I would say in the first couple weeks, we're going to dismantle that reactivity and that old behavior. In the following weeks, we're going to rebuild something brand new where you're actually connected to God and sharing what he would share with your people, and they're going to be listening to you. So we're going to dismantle the old thing. We're going to hold your hand through that because that's what you've been afraid of. And then we're going to rebuild the new thing. But I wouldn't be telling them 12 weeks, these modules, because I think that pulls them away. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, correct. And so I'm just going to use an example here. And so Katie, you want to see what it's actually like working with us then?
Yes.
To do that? Okay.
Yeah.
So not to get into the nuts and bolts, but the first couple weeks when we dive in, we are going to be deconstructing X, Y, Z, and ABC. Now, the important thing is what this does. It allows you to outcome they told you earlier, outcome earlier, they told you earlier, outcome told you earlier.
Not scream at him again. Never see that on their faces.
Whatever they told you, so it's time back.
Yep.
So that's what we cover the first couple weeks. Katie, how do you see that helping you?
Oh, that's everything. If I could just get that far, that's everything.
Okay. Why do you feel that way?
I just can't do that again.
Okay.
I cannot do that again.
Perfect. So the next phase on top of that, then we're going to ABC and help you build 1, 2, 3. And
Wow.
this, then take you to outcome that you talked about earlier, outcome that's provided, whatever. So knowing that step, how do you see this being a real big benefit of taking you really towards your dream with your family?
Yeah, that's what we need. I mean, I've seen other people do that. I've seen other women communicate like that. I've seen their kids and their husband look at them that way, but I didn't think I could do it. So if that's what you're going to teach us, then yeah.
Okay. Now the last part is I want to let you know, you're not doing this by yourself. We're running with you. You're immediately going to access to us direct message, connect with us 24 hours a day. You're going to be showing up in group calls, going through all this. I want you to prepare a bed in a spare bedroom for me and move in with you.
I'm not going to do that, Scott.
Okay, cool. So everything here that we just went through, how do you see that really being the keys to unlock the kingdom that you're looking for in your family?
Yeah, I mean, I was really hoping after I saw Alyssa's story that that's what we'd be doing, that you would get to know us and that,
Perfect.
You'd know me and how to help me do that in a way that's real true to me, because I don't want to I can't just copy it out of a book. I tried that. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. So to get started, then the investment's $3,000. How do you want to proceed from here?
I think I got to dig through my stuff and find it. I don't know what I can do today. I got to figure that out.
Okay. What do you mean by dig through stuff, just so I'm clear?
I just need to look at our finances, where our cards are at. And I know one card is maxed. I'm not sure what's in checking right now.
Okay. Can I ask a question that might offend you?
Yeah.
Okay. If you do check and if we're talking tomorrow and you've checked, what do you think that your bank account potentially says at the moment?
Oh man, it depends on whether or not a few things have come through. I'd say it's probably 1,800. I anticipate another 2K in there in the next couple weeks.
Okay. So obviously right now, investing 3K with me today so we can get started tonight isn't viable for you.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen.
Okay. And that's understand a lot of people don't have 3,000 just kind of sitting around the couch cushions. I never want money to come in between a family like you that's ready to take action and have the results that you're looking for. So this is something that we really don't do. But if I was maybe it'll break up into payments to kind of help you out so you guys could get started tonight, would that help you out?
Yeah.
Would you want
Yeah,
to
I think
discuss that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now I know you kind of said you think you might have 1,800 there. I mean, if we did 1,000 today to get you started, so we could get your family going tonight and get you into the call start in the next couple days, would $1,000 would you be able to do that so we can achieve XYZ with your family?
I think I could do 800 and not feel like I'm not gonna be okay.
Okay. And I don't want you to not be able to put food on a plate or have the lights on, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not the goal here either.
Yeah.
So if we did 800, Katie, I want to do that for you.
Thank you.
But now I am a little nervous about the other 2,800.
Yeah.
If we, or the 2,200, if we did 2 payments of 1,100, so 1,100 in 30 days from now and 1,160 days from now, is that going to work?
That's that feels like a lot. I could probably do 500 a few times, however many times that is. I don't know what that is.
Okay. So our program's 90 days, and that would kind of push back that past that 90 days. Do you think it would be too tight to do this? Because I don't want to put stress on you and you're worried about not being able to pay this. I don't want you coming that way either.
Yeah. No, I think we can figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I want to let you know. Yeah, we'll do the 800 today. I am going to do 1,000 30 days from now, not the 1,100, another $1,000 30 days from now, not the
Awesome.
1,100. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
If in the next week, the next 2 weeks, the next 30 days, that payment stresses you out, you're not worried that, and you're worried you can't make it, I want you to have a conversation with me personally.
Okay.
And we'll work it out. Okay.
Okay.
I want to make sure that you run hard through this next 90 days. I run hard with you for the next 90 days. And we crush this. And so I don't want in 3 weeks from now, you to be freaking out you can't pay it and completely run and hide. I don't want that for you or your family. Is that fair?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
What card do you want to put that 800 down today then?
Blah, 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 blah. Cool. Yeah.
And so very clear, simple, it's 3K. Let them tell you what's a yes or a no. If it's a no, have a clear conversation about why it's a no and help them solve their problem. And so I didn't write a bunch of stuff down to have her start to think about it, because at that moment she didn't be like, well, now I need to talk to my husband because we're going to really need to figure this stuff out. We're going to need to go do this. Let me write these numbers down, or can you email this to me so I can show him? And then those people will be gone and they never will come back, because the husband will have a conversation, probably talk her out of it for your will. So having that conversation, very clear, very specific, yes or no, and then work from there.
Yeah. And Jermaine, the way you pitched me the pay in full, I was going to do it. I was going to just go open a new credit card. When you said that, I was like, oh, I could get a credit card. And even in my old life, I wouldn't have thought about that.
And Jermaine, in the process that you've done and studied and had success on, it is a very good process. But in this scenario, I don't see it being as effective. And this is the same process that there's multiple, my sales trainers have Fortune 500 sales companies, right? That they train this way. Some of them train Google, some of them train Mercedes. This is the way that they train because it is highly effective. And I've noticed it's the best way. And if you ask Sue, I actually met Sue a couple years back through an agency I was doing sales for. And we had to pull out a pitch deck. And when I did that with Sue, I lost her emotionally. She started thinking logically. We ended up having, I think, 2 more sales calls and even had to have the owner come on to have that conversation.
Trying to remember that experience. It's like, oh. But, I'm just gonna jump in with a question here.
Yeah.
The question I have is, I personally will never let the payment plan go past the end of the program.
I won't either. I won't either.
'Cause that's a non-negotiable for me.
Yeah, that's good clarifying because we have a back end too. So my thought,
Yep. And
when
that,
we talked about doing high ticket again, I was like, great, well, they can just pay for a year. And now I realize that's not going to happen because they're going to pay more when we're done because they're going to stay.
Yep.
That's how this works. Yeah.
and Sue brought up a really good point, and that's why I even brought up, hey, that goes past the 90 days.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you said that, it's
Don't do
like,
that. And
Yeah,
that's
and it
why-
worked. That totally worked. I was like, okay, well, then I'm going to figure it out. I guess I'm going to be applying for some line of credit or something that I don't have yet.
Yep, and that's why I even dropped it from the 1,100 down to 1,000.
Yeah, and that was so
Also
kind.
make
Once
that
I told
stay.
you, I'll figure it out. You brought me more kindness. Yeah.
Yep.
And then I
And-
loved closing the door on like, if you're worried, because I've had women come through and then be worried and they disappear, they lose heart.
Yep.
And really, instead, come talk to me. Because
Yep.
even if what we had to do is put you into a lower community for 6 weeks so you can figure it out, let's do that. We're going to
Right,
keep running. with it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Of, hey, cool, you can't pay the $1,000 this month. Now we're having an honest conversation of,
Yeah.
yeah, for the next month or 2, let's do the $200. You'll be in that community. Once you get that 1,000, come back and we'll do the next 30 days. But now you're not missing a beat,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're empowering the women to come in, right?
Yeah. So I think the really important thing, Jermaine, I'd love to hear your thoughts, but I think the important thing is the keeping them in the emotion of, oh, I can never do that again. Has nothing to do with money or the program or anything. I just can't do that again. And I need to become this woman. And you just told me I could, then I'm going to move everything to make 3K happen.
You're just helping them. Yeah, you're just helping them make a decision. That, yes, I'm doing something about this with my life.
What do you think, Jermaine?
Hear you.
And the best thing I can always tell you too, you test things.
Yeah.
give it a go.
And it was also a message I left Katie yesterday saying, hey, you were closing at a really high rate before, doing it a really poor way. I don't expect you to know how to do it my way 100% effective immediately. If you try to change everything immediately, you'll burn it down fast. You do what's comfortable.
Yeah.
And you start changing the pieces that you need to change. They'll be the biggest levers. Right. And over time you can get there. So things that are out of the norm for you, you want to try them, but don't necessarily try to just force change.
Yeah.
And so test it, and it's one of the things to where, it's nice you have a huge community and you're able to start taking a bunch of calls and test it. Maybe Jermaine, you do the next 3 calls and you do a pitch deck and you write it out, and Katie doesn't, and you guys see what the results were on it.
Yeah. Totally.
And then, if people come in, you ask them afterwards, go, hey, was that helpful? Was it not? And that I probably wouldn't use the most criteria, but more of what happens. But my opinion is, because of doing so many sales calls, working with so many people that are in the high ticket space and make very good money doing this. No, I don't know anybody that does a high ticket sale by pulling out a board and writing it out, or having a bunch of options. The best results I've always gotten is, this is the price, because everybody knows that price.
Tell me how you're going to make it happen. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think, I feel like some of the gap is closing something that's a product. It's something you can hold. It's going to be at your house. Like, okay, here it is, a high ticket item. But what we're selling is actually the conversation that we're in right now. You want more of this. So I think that was part of why I felt on the role play, like, oh, I just came out of that place where you were resonating where I was at with my kids and you understood what was going on. And now I'm talking to a salesperson. And I needed to have my hand held into more of what we were already doing. Does that make sense?
And that's a huge psychological part of the equation. Because psychological triggers can be either positive or negative. And so me just staying in my seat, staying exactly what I'm doing, having the conversation I am with you and walking you through enrolling is a very positive psychological trigger, knowing that I'm going to help you and I'm going to get you there.
Yeah. So do we need to be really
A
careful?
negative psychological trigger can be, yes, like you said, now I'm going to turn into sales guy here. Okay, I got you. So now I'm going to pull out the board and show you. Right. And that can be a big detriment in situations like this.
You think we need to be really careful hybrid? We did a hybrid call the other day and it was so beautiful. It was like I held her hand, helped her feel safe, got her commitment, helped her understand what we're going to do. And then Jermaine pitched her a proposal, a financial proposal. And we both just stayed there. And the girl was like, oh, yeah, totally. And then she told us how excited she was and she buttoned it down herself. And so do you think, I mean, the way it felt, Jermaine, you could tell me, it felt amazing to me. Like, I'm just going to do the coachy part. Jermaine did the financial part and everyone was like celebrating. We wanted to get champagne out at the end. So do you think that we're in a dangerous situation as far as like, hey, let me send you my sales girl now? It felt good, but this was a client that we already know really well and she already trusts us. Obviously, we have to try it on, but
my personal opinion would be that you didn't, and for multiple reasons. Number one, it'd be better having both you guys doing a private sales call on your own at the same time and closing people twice as fast with
Sure.
less hours. Number one, it's easier to get people on a schedule. Number two, Sue kind of brought up buying a car earlier. One of the sales tactics that car salesmen, we even use it in like the fitness industry. I'd be talking with somebody and then, okay, so you're right. Well, let me go grab my manager, see if he can do a deal for you. People have, and granted that's not what you're doing.
Yeah.
That can have a negative effect on people.
Yep.
All of a sudden you're switching things over. And so I want to ask, do you think that the three of you celebrated and she was throwing champagne because she was bought in and she could have talked to a cone and bought and celebrated, right? And it had nothing to do with a two-person close.
Right.
She was ready to go either way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's what I'm guessing is what was going on more than the fact of having both of you doing it together.
Right. Yeah. No, I think what happened is just because of my triggers, and maybe this is just how we begin, because of my history and what I'm still working through, bringing to sales, I could completely cancel the part that scares me and be present for her and really walk her through the process. And then Jermaine's super confident about closing people and she'd do that all day long. And we're both in our happy place. So we had presence with her. We both did. That was unbroken. And she part of why she was getting the champagne out is because we have so much trust. She's like, oh, thank God. Katie does actually see what the heck is going on and how I'm not quite getting it. And she still wants to run with me. And I know I can do it. That was the champagne. It was like, okay, we all believe that she's going to get there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the last part of having three people on the call, where if you're having a conversation with somebody and there's someone sitting over in Zoom quiet, you might get openness. Yeah. And so to me, when I'm looking at testing stuff, I always look at the pros and the cons, the positive, negatives. Where could this benefit? Where could it go wrong?
Yeah.
And make decisions based off of that, right? Because yes, same thing. My brother does sales for staffing companies. He's a very, very successful individual. Him and his manager walk into every meeting together, and it's a two-part thing.
Yeah.
They use a full slide deck. They use a presentation. They write out. It's a different animal. than
Yeah.
what you're doing here. And that's a very successful, and they're very good at what they do. So there's a lot of ways of doing successful sales.
True.
That's why I said, don't try to emulate me, because you'll
Yeah.
burn your own person, but
Yeah.
understand the process. And so I would have just one of you, and I would have it to where the price is at the end. I would have it, here's the single price, and you walk them through. You don't use any writing, but again, that, you know, some of that's your comfort level.
Sure.
You know, domain, that's a comfort thing for her. That's why I kind of said it might be a crutch that you're using to feel comfortable, but it
Me
might help
too.
you lose the race. Same thing like with you. I don't feel comfortable talking this stuff. Well, you actually do. You just don't know what to do, which is why you're scared to take that step. You also
I see
don't
corrected.
know because of how bad it was before, but I just walked you through it. It wasn't manipulative.
No, I
didn't-
love it. I love it. And everything that we did with Stacy, is her name, the other day, I could easily see just moving that same way with her through the money. Oh, I don't know. Like everything's super tight. My husband just lost his job again. The economy's terrible. Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Yep.
So is
And-
this going to be something we can do? Is there a way to find it, or are we do we need to talk about other options? Yeah.
Yep, and that's where you're problem solving with them, right? And let
Totally.
them come to their own conclusion. That's where
Yes, that's the important thing.
curiosity, right? And
Yeah.
that's the thing of like, hey, I understand. Like, you don't have $3,000 in the couch cushion right now? Go dig.
Yeah.
Like, right?
Yeah.
And there's sometimes I make jokes about that, you know, things along that line. But yeah, I know, I get it. That's not a problem. I mean, is it something you actually want to do though?
Right. Yeah.
Because you need to fish that out too, which is why I let off
Yeah.
with kind of that type of question, right? Like, is it the $3,000 and it's like, hey, I would never do this, like you're out of your damn mind, or is it I've got the 3,000, I don't have the $3,000, but I want it desperately. I want it
Yeah.
desperately. Okay, should we have a conversation about trying to make this?
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. So is it the money, or is it?
Yep, and then you just problem solve.
Or is it that you're not sure you can do it? Yeah.
And exactly, it could be the fear thing, right? Which is why you have to fish some of that out. And you and I haven't practiced any objection handling yet on that, but that is sometimes the situation, right? They use money, then they use their spouse, and then you think about it. When in reality,
Yeah.
they're scared and doubting themselves, right?
Yeah, and ours are always the objection that we always come to is, first it was we have on our job form, it's very clear, your husband needs to be here, or you're completely financially independent and you're going to make this decision, or you're going rogue and you don't care what he says and you're going to make it happen. There's only 3 choices.
Yep.
A negative, a positive, or he's here. And they would typically get there to the end and I would say, okay, it's $3K to get going. How do you want to do this? And they go, oh, if it was going to be $600, I could do this without my husband. But since it's that, I can't.
Yep.
And I wanted to talk with you and Jermaine both about that too. The objection puts them together. So that's like a, okay, well, he's not here. You already knew he couldn't be here. You didn't know how much money it was. Something, yeah.
Well, there's tons of clients over the years that I've worked with. They're like, I have on my application, do you have the money to invest? And then when I ask them, like, oh, I don't have that much money. Just because someone puts something on an application doesn't make anything true.
Totally. They just want to get there. They're desperate.
Well, I haven't looked at an application in probably 4 years.
Wow.
I don't even care because
Yeah.
the application doesn't matter. Now, why they're giving you that, hey, it's $3,000, whether they fill an application, whether I know anything about it or not, 3,000, hey, I would love to do it. There's no way I could pay that.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there something? Well, my husband would be pissed if I did this.
Mhm.
There's no way I could pay more than $600 without him getting pissed and not knowing. Okay. Is that $600 just this month or like $600 to get started and we break up some payments to make the rest work? Right? Get curious, help them problem solve. Some people
Yeah.
like, can't do the $600. Cool. That's fine. We got our $200 option. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right? So you just help them problem solve of whatever the scenario is.
Yeah.
Because you can ask on an application again, have your husband here or ready to make a decision. You can have that in your pre-sale material. If you show up without your husband, that means you're financially independent. And then you get to the end, and you're like, well, I need to talk to my husband about this.
Yep.
Well, wait, in the application, you said
So which is it? Yeah.
In front of the call, I said, hey, your husband's not here. So have you guys talked about it? He's on board? Yeah, we talked. He's on board. Why didn't you talk to my husband? Okay. What are you gonna do? Throw that back in their face? Who cares what they said?
Right.
earlier?
Right.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's the truth that they're living in now.
Yeah.
And the truth that they're living in now is they want to do this, but they can't afford it.
Yeah.
How do we make this work out together?
Yeah.
That's it. Right. And you have to get curious about that and have that conversation.
Cool. And you could even ask, do you want to talk about ways we can make this work, or do you want to hear about other options? Because they know this is the dream. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Right. And again, like if your water heater goes out, where you come up with that $8,000?
Yeah. You have to find it.
100%. You don't go.
I have
without-
been a single mom dumped on my butt so many times financially, and it's always happened. It's always figured it out. Yeah. Yes.
And so that's why you're problem solving, right?
Yeah.
And,
Totally.
And if they're not ready to problem solve, there's
Yeah.
something else going on.
They're not ready. Yeah.
And I'll need to ask them, hey, Katie, so it seems like right now, either you can't do this or you're just really afraid to bet on yourself. Which one is it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm a little nervous. This is a lot of money, and what if it doesn't work?
Yeah, I've done a number, we hear that. I've done a lot of parenting programs before and it didn't change anything. Yeah. So that means that we didn't have a thorough enough
Yep.
yet
And so sometimes we need to have that,
understanding where we're going. Yeah.
right? And you will see actually that objection is going to start disappearing completely if you go through your proposal the way that I did. I did section 1 and asked you, how do you see this helping you?
Yeah.
You're
Result.
like, if this is everything.
Yeah.
If this is all I got, I would be super ecstatic.
Yeah.
Now the next part, how do you see? Oh my gosh, this is great. And then how do you see us being the kingdom, the key to the kingdom you want in your house? Oh my gosh, boom, 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 right?
Yeah.
There's no doubt there. And they told you there's no doubt, which because they say that, now when they try, they won't be able to actually say, well, I don't know if this will actually work for me.
Right. Yeah.
Because they've actually told themselves already why it will work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So that
Totally.
objection almost gets eliminated altogether.
Yep.
Which is why some of these things throughout the sales call you do, because it eliminates any objection coming up, because they flat out told you, no, I made this day is the day to decide to change. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Everything I know about you so far, it sounds perfect. Cool. You want this dream? Oh, I 100% can get you there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's actually how it works with me.
Yeah.
And you just told me why this is blowing your mind, why this is more than you ever thought manageable, why you thought this fit. Okay, well, I don't know if it's going to work.
Right.
That's a major disconnect, and that's a pretty large leap. So if you get that's somebody that it's just not an ideal buyer, and they're too afraid to tell you.
Yeah.
50 cent in my bank account. If I buy this, my husband will beat me. You know, something horrible. They're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
And so the most caring thing you can do for somebody at that moment is have a little bit of discussion around it. And if it goes a little bit too deep, well, hey, we've got this other option for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
And that's kind of the process. Again, it's just solving problems is really all you're doing from beginning to end to help them make a commitment to change.
So cool. And you're
give them
really
a way to do
asking, you're really asking them to problem solve. That's what I've experienced with you. It's like, oh man, I better figure this out. I need what he has. I need to figure this out. Yes. Jermaine, thoughts, questions, comments?
Yeah, and that's all. Yeah, go ahead, Jermaine.
Sorry. So for me, it's just in my head when I'm in an appointment. Yes, building value and eliminating objections throughout the whole conversation is definitely my goal. So
Yeah.
that when I get down before any price has been spoken at all, I make sure that they don't have any other questions, because I also know that a confused mind says no. So if they're still hung up on something that I said in the very beginning and it didn't make sense, maybe I didn't verbalize it right or they didn't hear it right, I want to make sure to address all of that. so that when I go from that point forward, I'm super careful with what I say and what I don't say. Once I know how much it is, I know that any objection they bring up at this point is about the money. Because they've already told me that we had all those questions. They've told me they can't do this anymore. This is the answer for them. So I know it's about money. At that point, the questions I ask, I have a process that I use. I just walk them through pretty much what they've already told me, but they say it. So I will ask them a series of questions. I'm not going to say to them, well, you told me. I will ask them a gentle question. I already know the answer, but I want them to tell me. And I pretty much just have them eliminate their own objections. They walk themselves into a corner where I can then say, so is it really about the money? Because they just told me they got to go talk to their husband. I know that's not the truth. It's about the money. And so many, many times I've had that objection. Well, I got to talk to my business partner or my husband or whoever. And that objection magically disappears when we can figure out the money. So I think that would
Yeah, you're right. And like 80% of the time talking to the husband or a business partner is complete smokescreen, right? It's just BS because they don't see the value, they don't see the benefit. There's something going on there. And so that's why, again, why I call it carrying curiosity. You gotta get curious. Everything you've told me so far has been, you're 100% all in. What changed and why?
Yeah.
Right?
So
Maybe questions about why. Okay, cool. Well, and I'm not going to go, why do you need to go speak to your husband? But
Yeah.
you need to have that question, right? You need to understand where the answer was. So I need to get curious and ask specifically questions around that. So
I have a
yeah,
question.
100%. Yeah, Katie.
So we're not the special exception. I don't want this question to be heard that way. This is a relationship offer with a person who doesn't have any value for herself in her relationships. So I was thrown because, and I'm in a different place now, but on the old way I was doing this, I was thrown by, oh, it's that much? Oh, well, then I definitely need to talk to my husband. She perceives, so are we going to go down that road with her? Because she perceives she's not allowed to make any financial decisions over $400. So when you bring that curiosity, are you going to the place of like, well, let's talk about that? I got to the place with my objection handling where it was, hey, if it's up to him whether something is going to happen, is something going to happen? And they would go, no, he's not going to do anything. And then I'd put it back, okay, so what are we going to do? Because
And that would be a kind of a sticky question to go, hey, would something happen? Right now, some people you might be able to understand that from the conversation and maybe drop that.
right, the context. Yeah, they always understood that, but it was hard. Yeah.
So and it should never go that way immediately. Like that'd be
No, this is like an hour and a half in. I understand and you understand what's going on here.
and
He's not about to do something about this. Yeah.
And so like a spousal objection. So I mean, if you just threw the spousal objection at me, so Katie, it's $3,000. How do you want to proceed from here?
Oh man. I definitely have to talk to Dane.
Dane's your husband, right?
Yeah.
Did he go through the videos with you and did you guys talk about the phone call and everything?
No. No, he's not.
He knows nothing about this.
Well, no, we've talked about it a little bit, but when I bring stuff up, he gets pissed off because he thinks I'm trying to get something out of him.
Okay, so he's not on board with this at all.
Well, I think he would be if he really understood what it was, but that's not going to come from me. He's not going to.
Right. So like if you went and said, hey, honey, I did this for $3,000, he would be upset and be like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool. And I don't want that to happen because you want to make this happen, right?
I think I have to make this happen. Yeah.
Okay. And he doesn't know anything about it and he would tell you no.
We wouldn't even get to start talking about it.
Okay. Do you want that to be the outcome?
Which part?
Him basically just shutting you down?
No, that's why I got on without him.
Okay, let me ask you a question,
Okay.
just off the record here real quick.
Okay.
If he tells you no, you're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
Why?
Because my kids are more important than getting along with him at
Would
this
it
point.
cause a problem between you two?
Mhm.
How big of one?
Never seen it.
I don't want to be the catalyst to that. So what do you think puts you in the best position to win, doing it without? Or trying to figure out a way to make it work by talking to him first?
I think maybe if he met with you, that could work.
Okay. And let's
I
say he
think
meets me and he still says no. What do you think?
I think then we need to talk again and see if there's something else I can get into.
Okay.
You said you have some kind of other option, yeah?
Yeah, we do. We do. Can I ask you another question?
Yeah, might as well.
If we did get started today and then the three of us sat down and talked, do you think he would be pissed off that you paid the money and the three of us sat and talked, he'd feel trapped? Or do you think he would be happy that you already started but knew that you could get the money back if he doesn't agree with what we would do together? What do you think's a better route?
Can you tell me the first one again?
Yeah, we just get started today and bring them into an onboarding call. Say, hey, honey, you're doing this. It's 3,000. But I want you to understand. I want you to meet Scott and I want you to meet the whole team. I want you to see what this is about.
Yeah.
And if you think it's a really horrible idea, we'll get our money back.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think I might need to stay somewhere for a few nights. But yeah, we could do that.
Okay. Again, I don't want to be the catalyst where you're sleeping on a couch or you're going to your parents or wherever you have to go to get away from that.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be you being the catalyst. I have to do something.
Okay.
We can't keep going like this. Yeah.
You want to do 3K today then?
I could put a down payment and let him know that we're getting it all back if he doesn't like the call. Yeah.
And when you think down payment, are you thinking like 2K or something else?
Yeah, I think I could put 600 down and not tell him what it costs and we could meet in a few days. That would work.
Would he notice the $600?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Would he notice like 100?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay. So would he be upset with like $100 on the account? So he would
Yeah.
be mad at that.
The 600 is why I would take some space. He needs to sit with that without me there. Yeah.
Okay. Because really it's not about the money for the down payment right now. It's just the fact you made a commitment. to
Yeah.
make it happen, right?
Yeah.
So when do you think the three of us should sit down and talk?
I think we need to be able to do that in the next 3 days. The sooner the better. Yeah.
Okay. So some of the materials I've sent you already, he would need to sit down and watch those before the three of us talk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I think when I tell him what I'm doing, I'll send him that stuff and then I'll let him know about the appointment and then I'll know whether
What do you mean send it to him? What do you mean send it to him?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
No, what do you mean send it to him?
Oh, the videos you sent to me. Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to be clear. So are you gonna have sit down and have a conversation with him about this? Or just send him videos?
I think I'm going to say at the same time, hey, I started this process. Here's
Okay.
what it's about. And here's our next meeting. I'd like you to be there. And then depending on how he responds, I think I'll know what to do next. Yeah.
Okay. Can we do tomorrow this same time and would he be able to be there?
Yeah, totally.
That's what
Yeah.
we're gonna do. I'm gonna tell you what, I'm not gonna take a down payment today.
Thank you.
I don't want him even coming into the situation with a negative attitude. I also want to make sure that you're going to that space as powerfully as possible. So you mind if I kind of help you out how to kind of handle the situation?
That would be great. Yes.
So that's why I kind of asked, like, what do you mean by sending him information? Because obviously you have the information, right?
Yeah.
So when later tonight, I want you to just kind of go up to him and say, hey, honey, I have an 8-minute video I need to have you watch with me because it's about our kids, but about us as well. And I want to talk about it afterwards and kind of get your feedback because I trust you as the leader of this household. But also I'm trying to command this household and I'm struggling. And this is something I think it could really help me out, but help us out. And I want to see that if it's okay and we can fight this together side by side. Are you okay with watching this with me tonight? And see what he says.
Okay.
Now your language might be a little bit different the way you talk.
Yeah.
Then you sit down and watch and say, hey, honey, what do you think? Because I talked with Scott earlier today. We penciled in an appointment for the 3 of us to talk tomorrow if you think it's a potentially good idea. I already did talk to Scott and it's $3,000. I know that we need this as a family. But I also need to know that you're supportive of it as well.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll be able to have a conversation like that with him tonight?
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Are
I
you
mean,
scared?
I would know a lot halfway through.
Okay, are you scared?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. You know what the best thing about being afraid is?
What's that?
You know you're about ready to do something amazing with your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Cool. So we'll see tomorrow. Now, if after that conversation it doesn't go good, don't message me tonight and cancel. Let both of you guys sleep on it because he might wake up in a different attitude tomorrow.
Sure.
Okay.
Cool.
But I'll text you at like noon just to confirm that we're still on for the 3 of us to meet. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we'll see you tomorrow then.
Jermaine, how do you like that? It's so intense. I was there, man.
And so sometimes like a spouse objection is a real spouse objection. That one
Yeah.
was.
Well, often is because that's who we find. These are women who they're confused
And your
and
message
in chaos.
and that's one thing I want to let you know. Your messaging is going to change,
Yeah.
right? You're already putting out different stuff. You're going to bring in different people.
Yeah.
But the other thing, and I was 100% serious, I'm not going to be the catalyst to anybody getting divorced.
Yeah.
And leave. And
Totally.
I'm not taking any money from you.
Yeah, totally.
No. F no.
Yep.
No, no way. And and that is one of those things that lets you know you're fighting is also giving her, hey, if you want to change, you need to take some ownership. Go do this shit with your husband.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And bring him to the conversation, have the conversation. Sometimes you need to coach them how to handle that situation.
So good. Yeah.
Now, you're already 100% bought in for paying $3,000. You're already 100% bought in for showing up tomorrow.
Yep.
If I get a text from you tomorrow that your husband won't let you, I knew I did everything I could.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And you made
Totally.
a change. And I might then at that moment, well, hey, we do have our community option.
Yep.
You want me to send you details on that? Because I can.
Yep.
You can send them details. Hey, it's $200 a month. We can get you started. You don't need to hop on a call again.
Yeah.
And then you
Right.
get her in the community. And then who knows? A couple months down the road, maybe the $3,000 does pop up at that point.
Yep. So good.
So
Yeah.
it's just all caring.
Yeah. It took the thing that I have in my mind is like you're unraveling something, and instead of going, it's got to go that way or it's got to go that way, we're just unraveling it together. Let's keep going.
Right. You're
Tell me
helping them
more
problem solve.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm asking the questions that are in a real conversation. Like if you and I not having a sales conversation and you're having a conversation about your husband, like that's my serious concern. Either you're gonna get, like we, type of deal. Like what would this cost? What's the worst case scenario? Right.
Totally.
And you need to help them through that process.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same thing with fear and everything else. So that was a true spouse objection, not a money one.
Right.
And you did a good job doing it. And that was you.
Yeah.
Like your past came out.
That was totally where I was. That was exactly where it was. Yeah. Yeah. And we have this is just this is like you're looking for a Christian woman who's confused and in chaos and has no authority in her house. You're finding someone with a marriage problem, and it's largely connected to money often. That's just the way that it is. And she can do it. A lot of them, they have the money, but the husband is the frickin' boss. That's why she's here. So I know we're looking at it, we're aiming at it, we're messaging to a different market, but that's still exactly who this program is for. Like, so as it is, that's who it's for. And I know it will hit those other people and they will have reasons that are valuable enough to be here too. But I did want to walk through that. Yeah.
But the thing is you'll start attracting people that are way more powered in their relationships.
Yeah, totally.
Than what you have attracted.
Yep.
It will be a combination of both, which is why you need to know how to handle the situations correctly, right? Because
Yeah.
no matter what, because some will be that situation and others won't.
Yep.
Others, like my husband, yeah, he's 100% bought in. And the husband thing is just how do you fish that one out?
Yeah. I lost you.
Are you still there?
You're back. Oh, is he gone still?
Yeah, cool. Okay. Yeah, I don't. Yep. And I need to jump for another appointment. I will get this. Nope, I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yes.
You hear me?
Huh?
You hear me?
Yeah, we can. But
I could hear you. I need to jump to another appointment. I'll get this
Okay.
recorded later
Cool.
today.
Thank you.
And go from there. You're welcome and good luck for both of you guys.
Thank you. This was awesome. Goodbye.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I don't know what's going on with my internet all of a sudden. But yes, I will see you later.